I died choking on my own blood, the metallic tang flooding my mouth as the knife twisted deeper into my gut, courtesy of the man I'd called brother for 23 years. "Happy birthday, sis," he'd whispered, his grin feral under the fluorescent lights of our family garage, the one place I'd always felt safe tinkering with engines. Betrayal burned hotter than the blade, my own flesh and blood, selling me out for a cut of the inheritance he thought was his. And then, nothing. Blackness. Until the world snapped back into focus, and I was staring at the cake on the kitchen table, 18 candles flickering like accusatory eyes. Not 23. 18. I'd been given a do-over, a savage second chance, and the first words out of my mouth would be the news for them all. But that was later. Right now, in this cursed rewind, it was my 20th birthday all over again. The pivot point where everything had unraveled before. The air in the old Victorian house in suburban Chicago smelled like Mom's overbaked lasagna and Dad's cheap scotch, the kind he nursed to drown out the ghosts he pretended weren't there. Balloons bobbed lazily from the chandelier, red and gold like fresh wounds, and the clock on the mantel ticked with the precision of a bomb. I sat at the head of the table, hands folded in my lap, heart pounding not with excitement, but with the cold fury of foreknowledge. They had no idea. To them, I was still their little girl, Amelia Harper, fresh out of community college, dreaming of fixing up vintage cars and escaping this suffocating Midwest monotony. To me, I was a ghost in my own skin, armed with memories that could bury them. Mom, Linda, in this life and the last, fluttered around like a nervous bird, her peroxide blonde bob swinging as she lit the single candle on the chocolate cake. 20 years, Amy. Can you believe it? Time flies when you're having fun. Her laugh was forced, brittle as the china plates she'd inherited from her own mother, the one she'd poisoned for the house. I knew that now. Secrets I'd clawed out of the darkness between death and rebirth. Dad, Robert, grunted from his armchair in the corner, nursing that tumbler, his salt and pepper beard hiding the smirk I'd seen 1,000 times in nightmares. He was the architect, the one who'd buried bodies in the backyard, figuratively and, hell, maybe literally. My brother Ethan? He was just the eager apprentice, 22 and already neck-deep in their web of lies. The doorbell rang, sharp as a gunshot, and Ethan sauntered in, all broad shoulders and boyish charm, bearing a wrapped gift that I knew hid a cheap necklace from the mall. "Hey, birthday girl. Ready to party?" He ruffled my hair like I was still 10, but his eyes, those calculating blue eyes, lingered a beat too long. In the last timeline, that touch had been the prelude to the blade. Tonight, I'd make it the prelude to his fall. We sang the song, off-key and obligatory, and I blew out the candle with a wish that tasted like ash. Burn them all. The cake was cut, plates passed, small talk about my auto mechanics classes and Ethan's promising job at the family real estate firm. Harper Realty, laundering money since 1995, courtesy of Dad's shady deals with Chicago's underbelly. I poked at my slice, the fork scraping porcelain like nails on a coffin lid. They were waiting for it. I could feel it. The bomb they'd planted years ago, ticking down to this very meal. It was Mom who dropped it, as scripted. She set down her fork, cleared her throat, and leaned forward, her manicured nails drumming the tablecloth. "Amy, sweetheart, there's something we've been meaning to tell you. About your birth." Dad shifted, his chair creaking like old bones. Ethan paused mid-bite, fork hovering, a predator scenting blood. My pulse thrummed, but my face stayed serene, schooled by the grave. "Go on," I said softly, voice steady as a revving engine. She exchanged a glance with Dad, then plunged in. You're adopted, honey. We got you when you were just a baby, from a private agency. We wanted to tell you sooner, but, well, life got in the way." Her eyes welled up, crocodile tears I'd fallen for once. "We love you like our own. Your family." The room went still, the rain pattering against the windows like impatient fingers. Ethan's fork clattered down, his grin faltering into something sharper. Dad's glass froze halfway to his lips. They waited for the tears, the questions, the confusion that had shattered me last time, sent me spiraling into their arms, ripe for the plucking. Instead, I smiled. Slow. Knowing. "I know, Mom. I know about the agency. And the fire that accidentally killed my real parents so you could snag me for pennies. The one you started with that faulty wiring you tampered with yourself." The color drained from her face, leaving it the gray of cigarette ash. Dad choked on his scotch, coughing wetly. Ethan leaned back, eyes narrowing to slits. What the hell, Amy? That's not funny. Oh, it's not a joke, I continued, voice dropping to a velvet whisper, the kind that echoes in empty garages at midnight. I also know about the life insurance payout from Grandma's heart attack, the one you induced with those extra pills in her tea, Dad. And Ethan? That internship you earned at the firm? Bought with the kickbacks from selling out Uncle Ray to the mob. He didn't skip town. You had him whacked in that alley behind the Gold Coast Casino, didn't you? Left him for the rats. The air thickened, charged like the moments before a thunderstorm cracks open the sky. Mom's hand flew to her throat, pearls clicking like rosary beads. Amy, stop. Where is this coming from? You're scaring me. Good, I said, rising from my chair, the legs scraping the hardwood like a challenge. You should be scared, because I'm not the scared little girl you gaslit into silence anymore. I remember everything. The deals, the deaths, the way you all circled like vultures, waiting for me to turn 20 so you could rewrite the will and cut me out. Or worse, silence me permanently, like you did the others. Dad slammed his glass down, amber liquid sloshing over the rim. Enough. This is nonsense. You've been watching too many true crime podcasts. Sit down, young lady. But I didn't. I circled the table, slow as a panther, my shadow stretching long across the walls lined with their framed lies. Vacations to Florida, Christmas cards, the perfect American family portrait. Nonsense. Like the safe in the basement with the forged documents? The ones that make me the illegitimate heir, so Ethan gets the bulk? Or the burner phone logs I found, calls to that fixer in Milwaukee, the one who specializes in accidents for desperate realtors. Ethan shot to his feet, chair toppling with a crash. You little bitch. Who have you been talking to? No one, I lied sweetly. I just woke up, saw things clearly for the first time. The rain hammered harder now, drowning out the distant hum of traffic on Lakeshore Drive. Outside, the neighborhood slept, oblivious to the rot festering in this McMansion facade. Inside, the Harpers unraveled thread by thread. Mom whimpered, Please, Amy. We can explain. It was all for the family. Family. I laughed, bitter as black coffee. You mean the empire built on graves? My real parents, Elena and Marcus Hale, they weren't junkies who OD'd like you told the social worker. They were whistleblowers, about to expose your mortgage fraud scam. So you torched their brownstone in Pilsen, claimed it was faulty space heaters. I was 6 months old, pulled from the ashes by firefighters who wondered why the accelerant smelled like your garage rags. Dad's face twisted, the mask cracking. How? Does it matter? I leaned in close, breath ghosting his ear. I know where the bodies are buried, Robert. Not just figuratively. That stretch of empty lot behind the old warehouse on Halstead? The one you developed last year? Uncle Ray's not the only one under the concrete. Ethan lunged then, hands outstretched like claws, but I sidestepped, grabbing the carving knife from the sideboard in one fluid motion. The same one he'd use on me 3 years from now. Touch me, and I scream. Neighbors here. Cops come. And I've got copies of everything. Emails, bank transfers, the works, tucked away with a lawyer who opens them if I don't check in by dawn. He froze, chest heaving, the boyish facade shattered into something feral and afraid. Mom sobbed openly now, mascara rivers down her cheeks. What do you want, Amy? Money? The house? Just don't ruin us. I set the knife down, deliberate, the clink echoing like a gavel. Ruin? Oh no, that's too quick. I want you to feel it. The slow burn. Starting tonight. That was the hook, the line that sank into their guts and twisted. But revenge isn't a sprint, it's a demolition derby, and I'd just revved the engine. As the storm raged outside, I laid out the terms, not demands, but the architecture of their undoing. First, the confession. Not to me, but on video, raw and unfiltered, detailing every sin from the fire to the fraud. I'd film it myself, phone propped on the sideboard, capturing their pale faces in 4K glory. Start with Elena and Marcus. I prompted, voice clinical as a mechanic diagnosing a seized piston. Mom balked, but Dad, ever the pragmatist, began, words tumbling like loose gravel. The scam, flipping foreclosed homes with doctored appraisals, pocketing millions while families like my birth parents lost everything. Elena, a junior accountant at the firm, had found the discrepancies. Marcus, her husband, a reporter sniffing around for a story. They came to me, Dad rasped, eyes darting to the window as lightning forked the sky. Threatened to go public. I panicked. Linda handled the rest. She did, with a can of gasoline and a box of matches from our kitchen drawer. I watched her recount it, voice quavering, how she'd slipped in through the back door during a summer heat wave, the baby monitor crackling as I stirred in my crib, the whoosh of flames, the acrid smoke, her dash into the night. I told myself it was mercy, she whispered to the lens. They were in debt, struggling. But God, Amy. The screams. Ethan's turn came next, his confession a venomous hiss. Uncle Ray, his mentor, the one who'd taught him the ropes, had grown a conscience, threatened to flip to the feds. I made the call, he admitted, fists clenched white-knuckled on the table. Drove him out there myself, bought him a drink laced with roofies. Woke up to the mess, but it was done. The necklace gift lay forgotten on the floor, glittering like fool's gold. By the time the video ended, the cake was congealed, the lasagna cold. Dawn crept in, gray and unforgiving, as I uploaded the file to a secure drive, triple encrypted, with dead man switches to news outlets, the DA's office. Hell, even 60 minutes if they dragged their feet. This buys you time, I said, pocketing my phone. 6 months. Confess publicly, turn state's evidence, and maybe you walk with a plea. Fight me? It goes viral before breakfast. They nodded, broken dolls in a diorama of their own making. But as I turned to leave, grabbing my keys from the hook, keys to the '72 Mustang Dad had gifted me last year, the one with the tampered brakes in the future timeline, Ethan grabbed my arm. You think you're clever, reincarnated, or whatever bullshit you're on. We made you, Amy. We can unmake you. I wrenched free, eyes blazing. You already did. Once. Won't happen again. The door slammed behind me, rain soaking my jacket as I slid into the car, engine roaring to life like a beast unchained. Chicago sprawled ahead, a concrete jungle ripe for reckoning. This was just round one. The Mustang's wipers slapped rhythmically against the downpour, blurring the neon signs of Wicker Park into watery halos as I gunned it toward my apartment, a cramped one-bedroom above a taqueria that smelled eternally of cumin and regret. In the last life, this had been my sanctuary after the birthday bombshell, where I'd drowned my adoption grief in cheap tequila and Ethan's false sympathy. He'd shown up 2 nights later, all apologies and brotherly hugs, slipping the sedative into my drink while promising to fix everything. Woke up in the trunk, bound and gagged. The drive to that godforsaken quarry on the city's edge a blur of panic and pleas. The splash, cold, final, had been his birthday gift to himself. Not this time. I parallel parked with precision, the tires hissing on wet asphalt, and hauled my duffel from the trunk. Clothes, laptop, the burner phone I'd stashed months ago in anticipation of. Well, this foreknowledge was a hell of a drug. Up the creaky stairs, past Mrs. Ruiz's door where Tejano music thumped softly, and into my space. Posters of Shelby Cobras and James Dean peeling at the edges, a workbench cluttered with carburetors and curse words etched into the wood. First order, fortify. I booted up the laptop, fingers flying over keys to activate the dead man switch. One ping from my smartwatch every 12 hours, or the video dropped like a guillotine. Next, the contacts. In the original timeline, I'd been isolated, a lone wolf pup easy to cull. Now, I'd been building quietly since the rebirth clicked into place 2 years back, on that 18th birthday when the garage light bulb flickered and the memories flooded in like oil from a ruptured line. There was Jax, my grease monkey buddy from the shop, ex-Marine with a grudge against corrupt developers after they foreclosed on his folks' farm. We'd bonded over late-night rebuilds, sharing smokes and suspicions. Harpers are snakes, he'd growled once, nursing a beer after spotting Dad's Bentley cruising our block. I played dumb then, but now I texted, meet at the diner. Got dirt that'll bury them. His reply buzzed instant, on my way, armed. Then Lena, Elena's estranged sister, my aunt, though she'd never known it. A no-nonsense PI in Milwaukee, she'd clawed her way out of the same Pilsen streets, haunted by her siblings' tragic accident. I'd reached out 6 months ago, anonymous tip about cold case files, and we'd met in a dive bar off I-94. Her eyes, so like the ones in the faded photo I'd unearthed online, had hardened when I slid the tampered wiring diagram across the table. This true, she'd rasped, chain-smoking camels. Swear on my mother's grave. I'd lied, because the truth was too wild for email. Now it's go time. Video incoming. Need your eyes on it. Her response, finally. Bastards won't see me coming. And finally, Detective Ruiz, Mrs. R's nephew, badge gleaming but soul scarred by the system's grind. I'd saved his ass last summer when a drunk joyrider clipped his cruiser, towed it to the shop on my lunch break, no questions. Owed me one. Favor call. Corruption case, big fish. Safe house. The dots danced. Then, you got it, Mija. Swing by the precinct at noon. Satisfied, I showered off the night's grime, the hot water scalding like penance. Staring at the fogged mirror, I traced the scar that wasn't there yet, the one from Ethan's knife, a jagged reminder across my ribs. Amelia Hale, not Harper. That's who stared back. Dark curls framing sharp cheekbones, hazel eyes that had seen too much. Elena's eyes. Marcus's fire. I'd spent the last 2 years piecing it together. Nights scrolling ancestry sites, days eavesdropping at family barbecues, piecing the puzzle of my erasure. The fire, July 14th, 2005. Official report, electrical malfunction in a rented brownstone. But the arson squad's prelims, buried in a warehouse file, noted gasoline residue. Mom's alibi? Grocery shopping, time-stamped receipt from the Jewelosco 3 blocks away. Dad's client meeting downtown, but the firm's logs showed his calendar clear. Ethan's summer camp counselor, but a buddy's old Facebook post placed him helping with family stuff that weekend. Loose threads, but I tugged them all. Dressed in jeans and a faded black Keys tee, I hit the road again, the Mustang's V8 growling approval. First stop, the precinct, a squat brick fortress on the south side where Hope went to die. Ruiz met me in the lot, his mustache twitching under the brim of his Cubs cap. Harper's kid, right? What's the play? I handed him a USB, backup copy, minus the family confessional. Insurance fraud, arson cover-ups, at minimum. Murder, if you dig. His brows shot up as he skimmed the files on his dash-mounted tablet. Bank wires to offshore accounts. Emails coded in real estate jargon that screamed payoffs. Jesus, Amelia. This is cartel level. He rubbed his jaw, glancing at the patrol cars idling nearby. Why you? Whistleblower. Something like that. I leaned against the fender, rain puddling at my boots. Personal. They think they own me. They don't. He nodded, pocketing the drive. I'll run it quiet. Feds might bite, Rico vibes. You need extraction? Not yet. But watch my 6. We clasped hands, his grip iron, and I peeled out, heart lighter but vigilant. The Harpers would scramble now, lawyers on speed dial, alibis rehearsed. But I'd anticipated that too. Lunch was Jack's at the Greasy Spoon off Ashland, plates of hash browns and over-easy eggs steaming between us. He was built like a linebacker gone to seed, tattoos snaking up his arms, eagle, globe, and anchor faded but fierce. Spill, he said around a mouthful, eyes locked on mine. I did, low and steady. The adoption lie, the fire, the video ticking like a grenade. His fork paused, face darkening to thundercloud. Sansoft bitches. My old man lost his place to one of their flips, suicide 6 months later. If you're serious. I am. I pushed a napkin across. Coordinates for the Halstead lot, sketched from memory. Ground-penetrating radar rental? We confirmed the bones. It's game over. He grinned. Wolfish. Got a buddy at the university. Owes me from Burnnie Stories. Tonight. Tonight. Adrenaline surged, hot and electric. This was the controversial edge, the vigilante dig, skirting laws I'd make them choke on. Cops later, proof first. Afternoon blurred into errands. Burner calls to Lena, who was already en route with her toolkit. Lockpicks, bugs, a Beretta tucked in her waistband just in case. We rendezvoused at a Starbucks drive-thru, her Prius idling next to my muscle car like oil and water. She was Elena's echo, same sharp nose, same unyielding stare, but hardened by 2 decades of bounties and betrayals. Kid, she said, sliding me a manila envelope thick with printouts. This is the adoption paper trail. Forged as hell. Signatures match your mom's on a parking ticket from '05. I flipped through. Bogus agency, ghost notaries. They bought me like a fixer-upper. Worse, sold your folks' story to tabloids for hush money. Her lip curled. Ready to burn it down? Born ready. We plotted. She on surveillance. tailing Dad's Bentley to his meetings, me on Ethan, hacking his cloud backups with a phishing link I'd seeded weeks ago. By dusk, I had his search history, burner buys, disposal methods queries, and a photo album of him cozying up to a known enforcer, smiles all teeth. Night fell sticky and sullen, the city exhaling its humid breath as Jax and I met at the lot. Chain link fence rattled under our bolt cutters, the warehouse looming like a skeletal giant. His buddy, a Tweety prof named Harlan with a flask of bourbon and a GPR unit that looked like a vacuum cleaner from hell, powered up under the sodium lights. Shoo, he stage whispered, though the nearest soul was a raccoon rustling in the weeds. This baby's sensitive. We swept quadrants, the screen beeping anomalies, rebar grids, then irregular shapes, elongated, clustered. Jesus, Jax muttered, zooming the display. Skeletons. At least two. Partial but unmistakable, skull fragments, femurs crossed like prayers unanswered. Ray, I breathed, stomach twisting. Harlan adjusted dials. And company. Shallow graves, no markers. Coroner's wet dream. Flash drive captured it all. Scans, GPS pins, timestamps. I emailed copies to Ruiz, Lena, a journalist contact from Marcus's old paper, the Tribune's investigative desk, hungry for scoops. Then, the spark, an anonymous tip to the feds, routed through Tor. Back home, buzzed on black coffee, I paced the apartment, the envelope from Lena mocking me from the table. Controversial decisions loomed. Leak the GPR now, risk spooking them into flight? Or hold, let the noose tighten? My phone lit up, unknown number. Ethan's voice, silk over steel. Amy, we need to talk. Family meeting. Your place. Now. I smiled into the dark. Doors open. Bring your A-game. They came in force. Dad hulking in the doorway. Mom fluttering behind like a wilted moth. Ethan slinking last with eyes promising violence. The air soured with their perfume and cologne, clashing with my engine oil. Sit, I said, gesturing to the sagging couch. Knife block from the kitchen island now on the coffee table, casual as coasters. Dad ignored it, looming. What the fuck is this, Amelia? That video, it's blackmail. Illegal. Confession, I corrected, perched on the workbench stool like a queen on her throne. Voluntary, even. And the bodies? That's evidence. Feds love that. Mom wrung her hands. Please, honey, we can pay you off. College, a car, anything. Ethan snorted. Or we take it back. He moved fast, lunging for the laptop. But Jax materialized from the bedroom shadows. 6'4" of righteous fury. Arm bar, slamming Ethan face first into the wall. Plaster cracked. Ethan groaned. Easy. Killer, I said to Jax, who grinned through gritted teeth. Not yet. Dad's fists balled. Who the hell is this? Insurance. I stood, circling them. Here's the deal. Turn yourselves in by morning. Full disclosure. No plea deals, no spin. Or the world sees the Harpers for the parasites you are. Mom crumpled, sobbing. But the shame. The community. Fuck the community, I snapped. They've been eating your lies for years. Time for the truth buffet. Ethan spat blood, writhing under Jax's boot. You're dead, you hear me? Deader than before. The slip hung there, electric. Dad's head snapped up. Before. Silence stretched, taut as a tripwire. Ethan's eyes widened, realization dawning. Mom gasped, hand to mouth. I laughed, low and lethal. Yeah, brother. Before. The room imploded then. Questions, accusations, Dad's roar of denial. But I held the line. The knife blocks gleam a silent sentinel. By the time sirens wailed distant, Ruiz is doing, right on cue. They were hers, zip-tied, Mirandized, hauled into the night under flashing blues. Lena waited in the hall, cigarette glowing. Clean. Clean enough. I hugged her, brief and bone-crushing. Auntie. She stiffened, then softened. Elena would have been proud. As the taillights faded, Jax clapped my shoulder. What's next, boss? Next? I live. But the twist gnawed, the rebirth's cost. Flashes, not just memories, but echoes. In the garage's final moments, Ethan's whisper. It's what she wanted. She. Mom. No. Deeper. The safe's documents, unread in full. Sleep came fitful, dreams of flames and faces. Morning brought headlines. Real estate dynasty crumbles. Arson. Murder charges rock Chicago firm. Ruiz texted, "Feds in. You're clear." But the envelope burned. I tore it open. Adoption papers, yes, but a codicil, handwritten. To my daughter, Amelia, if they come for you. Remember, the fire was self-defense. Elena, my real mother's scrawl. No, wait. The world tilted. Elena hadn't been a victim. She'd been the spark. In on the scam, until conscience cracked. Faked her death? No, the fire was mutual. Marcus dead for real. Her fleeing with me, selling the orphan story to infiltrate the Harpers from within. But failed. They killed us both, her note ended. Avenge us. Or become them. The twist, I was the monster's seed. Blood called to blood. Happy ending? Or just another layer of the con? I crumpled the paper, flames licking my trash bin minutes later. The Mustang waited. Road trip? Or round two? To be continued. The acrid smoke from the burning note curled up like a question mark, stinging my eyes as I watched it blacken in the metal bin. Self-defense? Elena's words echoed in my skull, a ghost rattling chains I thought I'd forged into weapons. Had she played me too, from the grave, across timelines? The rebirth, was it her curse or mine? No time for philosophy. The knock at the door was Lena, her face etched with the night's toll, coffee cups steaming in a carrier. Figured you'd need this, she said, stepping over the threshold, nose wrinkling at the char, burning bridges already? Evidence. Lie smooth as WD-40. I took the cup, black, 2 sugars, and we settled at the workbench, the GPR scan still glowing on the laptop like digital x-rays of the Harper's sins. She sipped, eyes scanning the room. The posters, the tools, the faint oil stains on the floorboards. Place has your vibe. Elena's too. Always tinkering, fixing what wasn't broke. A pause, heavy. She was complicated. Left home young, wild dreams. Journalism with Marcus, then the firm gig for steady cash. Thought it was climbing the ladder. Until she saw the rot. I traced a wrench's edge, cool metal grounding me. Lena nodded. Yeah. Came to me once, scared shitless. They're cooking books, sis. Big ones. I told her run. She said she had a plan. Expose from inside, protect the kid. Her gaze softened on me. You. The note's weight settled deeper. If Elena had lit the match, mutual destruction with the Harper's goons? No, the paper said OD for Marcus, fire for her. But the codicil? Forged? Or truth? You okay? Lena's hand on my arm, tentative. Fine. Another lie. What's the word on the arrests? Feds swarmed the house at dawn. Your dad's lawyered up, singing like Sinatra for immunity. Mom's in psych eval, breakdown. Ethan's lawyering too, but quiet. Spooked. She smirked. Your video's gold. DA's drooling. Good. But the victory tasted flat, like day-old beer. The controversial itch returned. Release the full confession now. Torch their reputations pre-trial? Or let the system grind? Risk them slithering free on technicalities? American justice. Lady with scales, blindfold slipping. Jax texted, lots crawling with badges. Harlan's thrilled, tenure bait. I grinned despite myself. Next, the real estate firm. Harper Realty's glass tower downtown gleamed like a middle finger, but inside, ledgers rotting with fraud. I'd hacked the basics pre-rebirth. Passwords swiped from Ethan's casual laptop borrows. But now, with charges flying, it was time to gut the beast. We geared up. Lena in her PI blacks, me in coveralls from the shop, duffel packed with thumb drives, and a Slim Jim for old time's sake. The drive downtown was a snarl of horns and exhaust, WLS radio blaring the scandal. Local family accused of arson for profit scheme spanning decades. Mom's tearful plea to reporters. We're victims too. Bitch, Lena muttered, flipping to NPR. The lobby was a ghost town. Receptionist fled, phones ringing unanswered. Elevators dinged empty. We rode to the 15th floor, hearts sinking to the hum. C-suite doors ajar, files strewn like confetti from a funeral. I jimmied the safe. Combo from Ethan's browser history. His birth date, arrogant bastard, and jackpot. Hard drives, ledgers yellowed with age, photos of developments, with ghostly overlays of raised homes. Jackpot. I whispered, snapping pics, yanking cords. Lena bugged the conference room. Tiny mics like ticks, feeding to her cloud. Alarms wailed then, shrill as betrayal. Fuck, motion sensors. We bolted, drives clutched like holy grails, down fire stairs that smelled of stale piss and panic. Out the back alley, sirens closing like jaws. Cops? Feds? Or Harper-hired muscle? The Mustang waited, a block away, but Lena's Prius was closer. Go. I tossed her the bag. She peeled out, taillights vanishing into traffic. I doubled back on foot, weaving through delivery vans, pulse thundering. Footsteps echoed, heavy, purposeful. Ethan? No, worse. The fixer, the Milwaukee ghost from the logs. 6'4", shaved head, suit straining over prison tats. He spotted me, lunging with a grunt. I dodged into a loading dock, grabbing a loose pallet jack, wheeled battering ram. Swung low. He howled as it clipped his knee, cartilage popping like bubble wrap. Harper sends regards, he wheezed, drawing a silenced piece. Controversy peaked. Shoot or run. No gun, stupid, but the alley narrowed, chain-link dead end. Adrenaline scripted it. Faint left, kicked the dumpster. Lid slammed his wrist, gun skittered. I pounced, heel grinding his fingers to pulp. Tell Robert game over. Sirens wailed closer. He scrambled up, limping into shadows. I vaulted the fence, thorns tearing jeans, landing in a crouch behind a bodega. Safe. Shaking, but alive. Texted Jax, hot. Need pickup. He arrived in his F-150, toolbox rumbling. Trouble. Always. We had a dive for wings and wings. Beer, debrief. The drives decrypted clean. Millions laundered through shell flips. Bribes to aldermen. Even a slush fund for accidents. Uncle Ray's murder? Contract line item, $50,000. You're a force, Ames, Jack said, clinking bottles. But this, it's eating you. Is it? The note's ashes whispered yes. Elena's plan, had I just looped it? Revenge as inheritance. Night 2. Lena's motel room on the outskirts, blinds drawn, pizza boxes open like wounds. She synced the bugs, Dad's voice, tinny through speakers. Fixer fucked it. Girl's got 9 lives. Mom, hysterical. We should have drowned her in the tub, like the others. Others? My blood iced. Play that back. The loop confirmed. The others, plural. Not just Ray. Infants. Rivals. The Harper's origin story cracked wider. Lena's face paled. Jesus. We go public. Now. Decision time. Leak everything. Drives, audio, note. Controversy be damned. Let the media circus devour them. I hit send. Tribune, Sun-Times, CNN tip lines. By midnight, alerts buzzed. Explosive new evidence in Harper scandal. Multiple accidents alleged. Sleep evaded. Dreams twisted Elena's face into Mom's, flames birthing me from ash. Dawn brought chaos. Press vans clogging the street below Lena's window, choppers thumping overhead. My phone, burner, rang. Ruiz. Feds want you in. Protective custody. No. I hung up, packing light. The Mustang called, open road, wind exorcising ghosts. But the twist deepened. A package at the door, unmarked, heavy. Inside, a locket, antique gold, engraved to A, from E. Click open. Miniature portrait, Elena smiling, babe in arms. Me. Back. Inscription. Forgive me. The fire was for you, to escape them. But I couldn't. Burn this life. Start new. Tears hot, unbidden. Self-defense? No, sacrifice. She'd torched the evidence, the ties, faking her death to free me. But the Harpers scooped the orphan, twisted the narrative. Marcus? Collateral, or knowing participant? The locket warmed in my palm. Happy ending? Not yet. But closure, maybe. Jax and Lena met me at the shop, engines purring in welcome. Where to? Jax asked, tossing me keys to a beater Chevy, bait car. California, I said. Sunset Boulevard. Mechanic gigs, beach at dawn. Lena hugged fierce. Family now. Always. Ruiz's cruiser idled outside. I waved. Thanks, but no. The road unspooled west, Chicago shrinking in the rearview. Harper's in chains, secrets ash. But the rebirth's echo lingered. Was this end, or intermission? A hitchhiker thumbed at the ramp. Hazel eyes, dark curls. Mirror? Or? I slowed. Hop in. She smiled. Thanks. Name's Amelia. The engine roared. Loop or liberation? Only the miles would tell. No, twist sharper. She wasn't me. Elena, aged backward by grace or grudge. Heard the news, she said, buckling in. Proud of you, kid. Ghost or godsend? The Mustang 8 highway, answers blurring into horizon. Interstate 80 stretched like a vein pulsing west, the Chevy's AM radio crackling with static-laced reports of the Harper implosion. Sources confirm audio tapes reveal a pattern of violence dating back to the 1990s. Elena, or whatever she was, sat shotgun, legs crossed casual, fiddling with the locket I'd handed her like a talisman. Her fingers, slender and scarred from God knows what, traced the engraving with reverence. You kept it, she murmured, voice a husky alto that tugged at cello strings in my chest. Figured it was yours. I kept eyes on the road, semis whooshing past like indifferent gods, the prairie flattening into endless gold under a sky bruised purple by dusk. Or mine. Or both. Who the hell are you, really? She laughed, soft and world-weary, lighting a cigarette despite the no-smoking sign sticker peeling on the dash. The flame-illuminated laugh lines I recognized from old photos. Her photos, Elena Hales. Fair question. Last time I checked, dead moms don't thumb rides from Joliet. Smoke curled toward the vent, vanilla-scented, clashing with the vinyl's mildew tang. Call it unfinished business. The fire. It didn't take everything. The words landed like gravel in a fuel line, clogging, sparking. Unfinished? You torched the place to cut ties. Left me the note, the locket. So why come back? Spectre Support Group. Her eyes, hazel mirrors of mine, fixed on the horizon where thunderheads brood. Because you did it wrong, Amy. Revenge? It's a junker engine. Looks powerful, but it seizes if you redline too long. She tapped ash out the window, wind snatching it. I lit the match to burn the corruption, not the world. But the Harpers? They were just symptoms. The real rots deeper. In you, now, if you let it. I gripped the wheel tighter, knuckles blanching. Controversial truth. She'd watched me, from shadows or ether, as I dismantled her killers. Proud but pitying. Deeper? I avenged you. Buried them in their own shit. Feds have the drives, the bodies, the tapes. It's done. Is it? She arched a brow, stubbing the smoke. That fire in your eyes. Same as mine when I dosed Marcus's drink. He was in too deep, laundering for them. I thought ending him quick was mercy. Then the blaze, to cover. Social services handed you over like a prize. Her voice cracked, rare fracture. I planned to reclaim you, expose the scam from exile. But the Harpers bought the agency head. Your adoption was a leash, not a gift. The Chevy hit a pothole, jarring us. I swore under breath. So the rebirth? You're doing? Some maternal magic trick. She shook head. Nah, that's on you, kid. Will to live, or whatever cosmic bullshit. I just hitched on. Echoes stick when there's blood. A pause, heavy as humidity. But you're veering off. California? Running? That's Harper blood talking. Cut and flip. Never face the frame. Frame. I exited toward a roadside diner. Neon eat. Buzzing erratic. Gravel crunching under tires. Parked facing the lot. Empty save for a big rig and a couple Harleys. Inside, fluorescent hell. Checkered floors sticky. Waitress with a name tag reading Barb, pouring bottomless Joe. We slid into a booth. Vinyl cracking like old knees. Menus laminated ghosts of grease. Order, she said, scanning. Pancakes. Always clears the head. I did, stack for her, burger for me. Then leaned in, voice low. Explain the frame. Ethan's slip, deader than before. They knew. She nodded, syrup pooling. Subtle. Robert guessed early. Your questions at 10, poking the attic boxes. By 18, they tested, accidental gas leak in the garage. You survived, too sharp. Figured you were Elena's ghost, or possessed. Fort paused. Made you a threat. The knife? Plan B. Revulsion roiled, hot as the grill sizzle. And you? Watch from the sidelines. Couldn't touch. Rules of the road, post-mortem. She winked, but eyes grave. Now? With them caged, the frame's yours. That evidence hoard? It's a noose if you trip. Feds will call you accomplice. Vigilante hacks, illegal digs. Jacks. Loose end. Lena? Motive. The burger arrived, rare and bleeding. I pushed it aside. So what? Turn tail. Let the system sort. No. She cut pancakes precise, surgical. Own it. Testify. But twist the knife. Expose the enablers. Banks that looked away. Pauls who pocketed. Make it systemic, not personal. Controversy crested, whistleblower, or wrecking ball. American dreams underbelly, justice for sale, but truth free if you scream loud. And you? Co-pilot till LA. Till you don't need the nag. She chewed, thoughtful. Or till I fade. Echoes burn out. We ate in silence. Rain starting patter on the tin roof. Diners murmuring over crosswords and crosswords. Back on the road, wipers thwacking, radio shifted to blues. Howlin' wolf wailing loss. Elena hummed along, off-key, and I let it fill the cab, a bomb on raw edges. Omaha by midnight. Motel off the interstate. Neon vacancy flickering welcome. Single room. 2 queens. Threadbare quilts smelling of Lysol and loneliness. I showered first, steam fogging the mirror where her face ghosted briefly, superimposing. Emerging in tee and shorts, towel turbaned, I found her cross-legged on the bed, locket open, photo yellowed. Tell me about him, I said, flopping opposite. Marcus. Dad. Her smile wistful, tracing the miniature. Charmer. Ink-stained fingers, always chasing the next scoop. Met at a rally, anti-corruption march, ironic now. He saw the fire in me. I saw the fight. Voice dipped. When the firm recruited, thought it was legit. Audits, clean books. Then the flip started, evictions masked as upgrades. The drink. Quick. Fentanyl patch in his whiskey. He went peaceful, dreaming of you. Tear tracked, she swiped it. I torched the files after, the brownstone apire. Slipped out back, waited for the crew. But Robert's men were faster. Snatched you before sirens waned. Guilt nod, twin to mine. You tried. Failed. She snapped the locket shut. Your turn now. What's the real run for? Mustang Soul, or Harper Hex? I stared at the ceiling, water stains like Rorschach regrets. Both. Tired of graveyards. Want. Normal. Shop in the sun, no skeletons. Normal's a myth. She rose, padding to the vending machine hum outside. Return with Cokes, cracking one. But peace? Earn it. Testify in Chicago. Then go. Decision crystallized, controversial clarity. Loop back, face the circus. Subpoenaed anyway, might as well swing. Deal. But you ride along. Wouldn't miss. Lights out. Her breathing evened, or mine. Dreams merged. Flames birthing stars. Marcus laughing. Harper's crumbling to dust. Dawn broke cornflower blue. Iowa fields rolling like green waves. We pushed through Des Moines, radio updating. Harper matriarch attempts suicide in custody. Son names accomplices. Mom. Ethan snitch. Poetic. Rest stop near Council Bluffs. Picnic tables slick with dew. Truckers nursing thermoses. Elena stretched, cat-like. Call Lena. I did, burner to burner. Headed back. Testimony. Her whoop crackled. Knew it. Jax too. Says bring beer. Done. Hang up. Elena's gaze probing. What? You're blooming. Less ghost, more gearhead. She bumped shoulder. Proud. The word hitched in my throat. Yeah. Yeah. We walked the lot. Gravel crunching, semis idling thunder. A semi's CB crackled. Breaker 19, got a ghost rider on your 6. Chill spidered. Coincidence? Or? Back in the Chevy, engine turning over reluctant, I checked mirrors. Empty. But the echo lingered. Nebraska blurred. Lincoln, Kearney, sandwiches from a gas station, warm and wilted. Talk turned light. Her favorite film, Thelma and Louise. Mine, Bullet. Music swapped stories. Springsteen anthems for her escape fantasies. Outcast for my garage anthems. Dusk in North Platte. Storm cells blooming black. Lightning stitching seams. Rain lashed. Wipers frantic. We pulled into a roadside bar. Platte River Saloon. Neon long neck luring. Inside, jukebox twang, pool cues cracking, locals in flannel eyeing the out-of-towners. Beers? She asked, sliding onto a stool. Whiskey. Neat. Bartender, grizzled vet type, poured with nod. Passin' through. Redeeming, I said, clinking with her. Jukebox kicked Sweet Home Alabama, irony thick. Locals danced loose-limbed, envy twisting. Normal. The word again. She leaned close. That your future? Dive bars, grease under nails. Maybe. Sip burned. You? Fade with grace. Eyes twinkled. Urhana Beach. Laughter bubbled, genuine. But the door banged. 3 suits. Out of place, scanning. Fixer's pals? Heart slammed. Time. We slipped out back, into pelting rain, Chevy's door slamming wet. Tires spun mud, highway slick as eels. They followed. I gasped, acceleration pinning us. Harper holdouts. She braced. Lose M. I did. Off-ramp feint. Farm road detour. Headlights off, through corn maze. Suits overshot. We looped back, breathless. Safe, she panted. For now. Adrenaline crash. Shakes, then calm. Thanks, Mom. Her hand squeezed knee. Anytime. Night deepened, stars pricking post-storm veil. Sleep in the cab, reclined seats, her head on shoulder. Echo or anchor. Didn't matter. Morning. Colorado border, Rockies teeth on horizon. Call to Ruiz. In 2 days. Good. Safe house prepped. Click. The frame tightened, but with her, bearable. Twist? Perhaps she was the happy, blood-mended, road shared. Or the tragic, echoes fade, leaving voids. Only Chicago would tell. The Rockies clawed the sky as we crested Eisenhower Tunnel, the Chevy straining like an old dog on stairs, altitude thinning air to rasp. Elena fiddled with the dial, landing on a classic rock station belting Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven, fitting dirge for the climb. Remember this? She asked, window cracked, wind whipping curls wild. From tapes. You and Marcus, road tripping preemie. I downshifted, engine groaning approval. Vegas, right? Elope Chapel. She grinned, nostalgic fog lifting. Kitsch heaven. Him in a rented tux, me in flip-flops. Vowed to take down giants. Irony laced the words, heavy as the snow-dusted peaks. Look where that got us. Here. I gestured vague. Highway. Us, the unraveling empire back east. Talking it out. Yeah. Silence companionable, miles marker ticking like a metronome. Utah border brought salt flats, mirage shimmer, heat waves dancing lies. We stopped at a vista, boots crunching crust, vast white expanse mocking with purity. Like a blank canvas, she said, arms wide. Paint new. Or berry old. I towed the edge, salt crumbling. The locket swung from my neck now, talisman warm against skin. Controversial urge. Chuck it into the void, sever ties. But no. Kept it, tether. Back on blacktop, conversation veered raw. Her regrets, my rages. The drink, she confessed, voice low over engine hum. Woke screaming his name. Thought cops come. But Harper's covered. Tragic OD, payout to the widow. Sucked me in deeper. Stockholm. I glanced, semis tailgating aggressive. Worse. Survival. Played along. Birthed you in secret. Agency cover for the snatch. Wind howled through vents. Planned the fire as exit. Docks torched. Me dead. You fostered legit. Watched it. Accelerant too hot. Beams collapsed early. I swallowed grit. Screams you heard, yours? Ours maybe. The image. Infant me in crib. Flames licking walls. Her silhouette fleeing shadows. Cops pulled you out. I watched from the crowd, disguised. Heart broke twice. Empathy warred fury. Her victim, my villain origin? Why not grab me then? Risk. Harper's owned the beat. Robert's donation to the Chiefs campaign. Bitter laugh. Bought time instead. Note in the locket, hidden with a nurse ally. Hoped it'd reach. It did. Late, but lethal. Nevada line. Vegas lights pricking dusk. Casinos glowing false promise. We bypassed the strip. Neon excess a blur. Hunger pulling us to a in and out off the 15, double-doubles, animal style, fries scalding. Booth by window. Overlooking slots distant, she unwrapped slow. Choice point Amy. Testify, you own the narrative. Twist it right, systemic rot, not family feud. Or what? Ketchup packet burst, red accusing. Fade. New name, new state. Let feds grind gears. I searched mine. Your call. The controversial fork. Justice as spectacle or shadow. American myth. Due process, but for whom? Harper's gamed it. I could too. Testify. For Marcus. For the others. Pride flickered. Good girl. Night in a Ely flea bag. Neon Motel 6. Buzzing insomnia. Shared room again. Her snores soft. Mine jagged with what-ifs. Dreams. Courtroom. Me at the stand. Harper's leering from defense table. Judge's gavel. Then flames. Her face in the jury box, nodding. Dawn. Salt to sagebrush. 80 eastbound reversal, Denver's mile-high sprawl yielding to planes. Radio frenzy, Harper's son flips. Implicates city officials in cover-up. Ethan's play, rat to save skin. Mom's suicide bid. Failed, now babbling in Bellevue. Lena called, stars aligning. DA wants your depot tomorrow. Flying, driving. Hang up, Elena's brow quirk. Patience, I said. Road therapy. She chuckled. Therapy's overrated. Action's the fix. Kansas. Wheat sees rippling gold, thunderstorms brooding. We hit a twister warning near Salina, sky green tinged, funnel distant but menacing. Pulled over at a farm stand, corn ears piled high. Owner hollering evac. Sheltered in his barn, hay bales fortress, wind howling banshee. Like the fire? I yelled over Gale. Worse. Unpredictable. She gripped a post, eyes wide. That's life. Sirens wailed. Funnel skipped us, mercy capricious. Back on road, damp and dazed, bonds solidified, storm survivors, kin. Missouri. Arch gleaming St. Louis, river muddy Mississippi churning secrets. Barbecue pit stop, ribs falling off bone, sauce tangy vindication. Talk turn tactics, testimony prep, cross-exam dodges. They'll paint you unstable, she warned, sauce on chin. Rebirth rants, gold for shrinks. Stick to facts. Wipe with napkin. Hacks, digs, videos, provable. Illinois border, home soil, heart clenching. Chicago loomed, skyline teeth. Traffic thickened, horns symphony rage. Lena's text, safe house ready. Jack's bringing pizza. We hit the city limits at Rush, Lake wind sharp off Michigan Avenue. Safe house. Nondescript walk-up in Logan Square, buzzers anonymous. Jax answered, bear hug lifting me. Lena behind, wine bottle raised. Prodigal. Elena hung back, shadow. Introduce. Family. I pulled her in, jaws dropped. Holy shit, Jax breathed. Double mint. Long story. Pizza devoured, wine flowed, debrief marathon. They bought the echo tale, grief hallucinations? No, her solidity convinced. Plans hashed, depot at dawn, full trial next month. Night deepened, Elena and I bunk the couch, pull out lumpy. Proud, she whispered dark. Getting there. Sleep claimed, dreams court-bound. Morning, DA's office, fluorescent stark, coffee vending sludge. Sharp-suited prosecutor, Ms. Vasquez, Latina firebrand, manila folders stacked. Ms. Harper, hail? Walk us. I did. Birthday hook, video force, hacks and digs. Elena's note. Handed over, her nod from the corner chair. Observer, not witness. Vasquez's eyes sharpened. This changes everything. Motive elevates. Avenger, not accessory. Damn right. Pen scratch furious. Cross-exam sim. Jax playing sleazy counsel. Ms. Hale, you fabricated evidence? Vigilante delusions. Objection, Lena barked. Facts stand. Laughter broke tension, Vasquez clapped. You'll kill M. Afternoon free. Shop visit, Mustang purring under my hands. Oil change ritual, wrench turning meditative. Elena watched, tools in hand. Like me. Fixed Dad's old Ford. Jeans. Wrench tightened, so did resolve. Evening. Press leak, my depot teaser, anonymous. Headlines erupted. Adopted daughter turns on Harper clan. Explosive claims of multi-decade conspiracy. Harper's lawyers howled. Defamation suits threatened. Ethan's cell call, routed. You win, sis. But blood's blood. Thinned out. Hang up. Twist night. Elena faded mid-dinner, form shimmering like heat haze over exhaust. Time. She whispered, locket glowing. Finish it. Wait. Hand through mist, gone. Void ached, but fire banked, not extinguished. Her echo in the locket's weight. Trial loomed. Spectacle, controversy incarnate. Me versus machine, American Gothic. Day 1. Courthouse steps mobbed, cameras blinding. Inside, wood-paneled gravity, jury box faces blank slates. Harper's entered, Dad cuffed, defiant, Mom medicated, vacant. Ethan slick-suited, eyes venom. Vasquez opened. Ladies and gentlemen, this is no family spat. It's a syndicate built on ashes and lies. Defense, coerced lies from a troubled girl. My turn. Stand. Oath. Gaze locking Dad's. I know, because I lived it. Died it. Gasps rippled. Judge banged. But truth flowed. Details damning, evidence ironclad. Cross. Delusions, Miss Hale. Reincarnation fantasies. Call it clarity. Jury leaned. Climax. Ethan testified, crumbling under Vasquez's grill. She knew too much. Like the mom. Jury gasps, Mom wailed. Verdict. Guilty, all counts. Sentences. Life, no parole. Outside, flashbulbs. I shielded eyes, Lockett clutched. Lena hugged. Jax hooped. Happy. Bittersweet. Tragic? Echoes silence. But free. Mustang waited, California calling. One last look. Chicago skyline. Flames of sunset. Thanks, Mom. Engine roared. Rode home.